We are Lagos Talks 91.3. Let's talk.
A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the news at noon on Lagos Talks 91.3. I'm Leka Adebashi. In the headlines, NNPC Limited denies plans to sack workers or reduce their salaries. NLC holds Day 2 protest over university union strike. On a foreign scene, Zimbabwe civil servants on strike over pay request salary payment in US dollars. And in sports, Neymar to be tried in Spain over irregularities in Barcelona transfer. Now the news in detail. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has announced that it has no plans to sack any of its staff as a result of its recent transition to a new corporate entity and unveiling ceremony by President Muhammadu Buhari a week ago. The Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division of the NNPC Limited, Garuba Dean Mohammed, made this known in a statement on Tuesday in Abuja, further noting that according to the Petroleum Industry Act PIA 2021, none of its employees will earn less than what he or she used to earn before the transition. The clarification from the oil giant came following claims that the NNPC, due to its transition to a company free from institutional regulations, was considering sacking from some of its workers. The Nigeria Labour Congress, the NLC, this morning continued its protest in Abuja over the prolonged strike by university workers across the country. This comes a day after a similar demonstration held in various states of the Federation, except in the FCT. During the protest to the Lagos State House of Assembly complex in Ikeja on Tuesday, its chairman in Lagos, Fumi Shesi, warned that the protest is the first in the series of actions planned by union leaders if the strike continues.
We have set up a committee that within 2 weeks they will address all issues. Government should not take us for a ride, and they should not take this with a pinch of the hand, because if government fails to do the needful within the space of 2 weeks, this will be like a child's play.
Lagos State Commissioner of Establishments, Training and Pensions, Ajibola Ponle, who received the letter on behalf of the governor, commended the NLC for leading a peaceful protest in the state.
We want to thank workers. What you have demonstrated today is your capacity to take power in Nigeria. And you must be ready. You must be prepared.
In other news, the Senate has received a formal request from President Buhari to confirm the nomination of Honorable Justice Olukayode Ariwoola as the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Justice Ariwoola's appointment as CJN by the President was sequel to the resignation of former Chief Justice Mohammed Tanko on the 27th of June on health grounds. Meanwhile, the Senate has confirmed Mohammed Bello as Chairman, Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, sequel to the consideration of a report by its Committee on National Planning and Economic Affairs. A bill seeking to bar the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, from getting involved in partisan politics has passed second reading at the House of Representatives. The bill, which aims to amend the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Act 2007, is sponsored by Sadasoli, a lawmaker from Katsina State. The amendment proposes to add that the CBN governor will vacate his office if he or she is a member of a political party or involved in partisan politics. A total of 34 children, 141 male and female stranded Nigerian adults, have been received by officials of the National Emergency Management Agency after returning to the country from Libya late Tuesday. The coordinator, Lagos Territorial Office Neymar Ibrahim Familoye, confirmed the development this morning. He said the returnees who were received on behalf of the federal government arrived at the cargo wing of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Ikeja around 11:50 p.m. Members of the People's Democratic Party's Senate caucus on Tuesday met with the party's presidential and vice presidential candidates Atiku Abubakar and Governor Ifeanyi Ukwa. The meeting, according to reports, is part of efforts to reconcile aggrieved party members such as Nyesom Wike ahead of the 2023 general elections. Also present at Tuesday's meeting was the PDP National Chairman Iyorchia Ayu. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Akali Baba, has ordered the deployment of additional forces to strategic areas in the Federal Capital Territory. The Force PRO, Muyiwa Dejobi, disclosed this in a statement on Tuesday amid concerns over security breaches in some parts of the nation's capital. According to Adejobi, the police are not leaving any stone unturned to fortify the federal capital territory and its environs. This comes after gunmen ambushed troops of the Presidential Guards Brigade along Kubwa Buari area of Abuja on Monday, inflicting injury on at least 3 soldiers. Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom has challenged the federal government to give an account of the $1 billion security funds jointly put together by the 36 states of the Federation to fight insurgency in the country. Ortom, while addressing journalists at the government house, Makurdi wondered what the federal government had done with the money that insecurity has continued to escalate in the country. The governor added that he had mandated his deputy, Benson Abonu, who represented him at a virtual meeting of the Nigerian Governors Forum, to seek clarifications on the matter. Meanwhile, the federal government has procured 6 more attack helicopters to enhance the fight against insecurity. Chief Executive Officer of TUSAS, a Turkish aircraft manufacturer, Temel Kotil, announced the sale of 6 T-129 attack helicopters to Nigeria on his Twitter handle. The announcement followed a deal reached with the company by the federal government. The procurement may not be unconnected to the recent visit to Nigeria by Turkey President Tayyip Erdogan. Police authorities in Abia State have said a bank cash officer and an armed robber were killed on Tuesday in a bullion van attack. Police PRO in the state, Jeffrey Ogbonna, who confirmed this in a statement, said the incident occurred along the Port Harcourt-Enugu Highway in Isiala Ungwa local government area of the state. The bullion van, which was escorted by 6 policemen, was conveying cash from a commercial bank in Aba to Umuahia when it ran into an ambush by the armed robbers. You're still listening to the news at noon. Moving on to the foreign scene. Civil servants in Zimbabwe have begun a 2-day strike to demand pay increases. They also want their salaries to be paid in US dollars as the local currency rapidly devalues. The government is doubling salaries this month, but unions say the increases have been eroded by high inflation, which stands at about 190%. Schools, health facilities, and government services could face major disruptions, as unions told the BBC that they expect all their workers to stay home. At least 4 people have died and 60 others were injured by a powerful earthquake in the northern Philippines, according to the country's interior minister. The magnitude 7.1 quake this morning struck the mountainous and lightly populated province of Abra on Luzon, the country's main and most populous island, causing small landslides and collapsing some houses. The tremors caused high-rise towers to shake more than 249 miles away in the capital Manila, which is located on the south of the island. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ordered an immediate dispatch of rescue and relief teams to Abra and will visit the affected areas once he has given the all clear. Moving on to sport news, Fulham have signed right-back Kevin Mbabu from Wolfsburg in a £6.5 million deal. The Switzerland international has signed a 3-year deal at Craven Cottage with the option to extend by a further 12 months. The 27-year-old becomes the newly promoted side's 4th summer signing. PSG player Neymar is due to face trial in October over alleged irregularities in his transfer to Barcelona. Neymar and former Barcelona presidents Sandro Rosso and Josep Maria Bartomeu will be tried for alleged corruption and fraud related to the forward's move from Santos to Barcelona in 2013. The Spanish tax authorities are looking to sentence Neymar to 2 years in prison and are also demanding €10 million in compensation from the player. The trial will take place from October 17 to 13. In business news, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) on Tuesday downgraded its outlook for the global economy this year and the next as inflation and severe slowdowns in the United States and China continues to surge. In its latest World Economic Outlook, the IMF cut the 2022 global GDP estimate to 3.2%, 0.4 of a point lower than the April forecast and about half the rate seen last year. According to the latest report, a tentative recovery in 2021 has been followed by increasingly gloomy developments in 2022 as risks began to materialize. However, the Global Bank retained Nigeria's growth forecast for 2022 at 3.4%. Finally, in entertainment news, organizers of the MTV Video Music Awards have reviewed the nominations for this year's event, with Jack Harlow, Kendrick Lamar, and Lil Nas X leading the way with 7 nominations each, followed by Doja Cat and Harry Styles with 6 each. Other artists who are nominated this year include Billie Eilish, Drake, Dua Lipa, Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, and The Weeknd. Fans are expected to vote for their favorite stars across 22 gender-neutral categories, including Video of the Year, Artist of the Year, Best Collaboration, and 2 all-new categories, Best Long-Form Video and Best Metaverse Performance. The 2022 VMAs will air live from New Jersey's Prudential Center on Sunday, August 28. And that's it on the news at noon right here on Lagos Talks 91.3. Now, before I go, let's take a quick look at the major stories. NNPC Limited denies plans to sack workers to reduce their salaries. NLC holds Day 2 protest over university union strike. On foreign scene, Zimbabwe civil servants on strike over pay request salary payment in US dollars. And in sport news, Neymar to be tried in Spain over irregularities in Barcelona transfer. Thank you so much for listening to the news at noon. I'm Neymar Adebashi. Have a great day.
We are Lagos Talks 91.3. Let's talk.